there used to be, newspapers. They didn't always print the truth, right? So it's now there's just such a volume of information coming at you if you're on any of these, or even Googling or whatever. It's just the volume of information, whereas before it might have been the local newspaper or a couple of newspapers.
Hi Beth.
Hi, Sanj.
Hi Poonam, how are you? Hi Poo, right?
Yeah, that's fine.
That's
you can say
fine.
that's okay too. Yes,
So how are you guys? Doing good?
Doing great.
I would say the same. Yes.
So, it's like I met Beth a few months ago and we kind of clicked like so well. And Poonam, I've known you forever, And it's always like I felt like when I met Beth and we've been talking, meeting and talking before. I felt like there is so much we can talk about. So I wanted to invite you guys together and have some discussions about some topics. So one thing that always comes to my mind, and I'm also using it a lot, and I think we all do it, is and is it good or not, we don't have to make a decision about that, but social media, it's a new word, right? We never heard this word before, like 20 years before. What is social media? Beth, what do you think?
Well, social media, there's a lot of different platforms. The word social, you would think that it's meant to enhance the social aspect of our world. But it's, I think initially it was used to more share information. The internet and all of that, to share information. I'm not sure, Poonam, what you would...
Oh, I agree completely.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was supposed to be. And I was thinking about this as I was coming over here, that it really took off when my sons were in high school.
Yeah,
And at that point you had to say, okay, hold on a second. How much time are you spending on this thing? Is this a good thing? Now everybody knows your business. Because that is the that two-edged sword. It's such a great thing to help us communicate with our relatives all over the world. The Facebook generation over here, that's who I am. And
MySpace.
And my cousins
It
are
started
all
with
over.
MySpace, right?
Yeah.
Right, my cousins are all over, and I appreciated that we could share photos online and see what everybody's doing, and a way to keep in touch, especially if you have huge families. And I really love that part of it. I think that's what it's about. I think that's what Instagram is about. I think that is the biggest plus point for me, is that it brings friends and family together.
So that's the social part.
So the distance doesn't matter anymore. You could be 10,000 miles away and you can stay in
enter
touch.
into somebody's wedding, your niece's wedding, if you couldn't attend or something like that, you're right there. Because all the photos, the videos, and you just click and you're right. So I think that is like one of the biggest pluses. There definitely, if you are a social media person, you have to have a thick skin, because you won't be invited to every single party or every single event.
That's
but
where FOMO
it will
comes.
be there. It will be there. And are you okay with that? And that was a big thing, that FOMO. I have seen that it has changed, at least I feel like my generation completely. I don't think my kids have as much issue with that as we do. And it's a bad thing, because here's the bottom line. It doesn't really matter if you're invited to every single event, right? Weigh it like it's an invitation, you got it or you didn't get it, it's okay. You still know those people, okay. How close you are, that changes determined. Our kids don't seem to have, my sons have no problem with that. And I thought that was really, really, how do you say, mature of them? Because they're like, it's fine, Mom, they're having a party, okay, they're posting this online, okay, that's cool.
But that might be their emotional intelligence. I don't necessarily think that that's true of every young person. I think there's people that spend a lot of time and they do have a fear of missing out, and they do judge their own life based on how other people seem to be living their lives, because you don't even know if it's true.
Yes, you don't.
So you know, we're mixing pros and cons, but you know, I think when you're back to your original question of what social media, I think way back it was really meant for information sharing. The social aspect, I mean, MySpace wasn't really called social media, right? It was, so that's a term that I think has grown over time. But you know, I think for the original idea of sharing information, you know, there's some great things you can get out of the internet and social media. There's also some negative things because people can put anything out there.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, on
And it can be a lot.
Wikipedia, anyone can put anything on Wikipedia. Anyone can add information, and it may not be true. So, you know, you look at any of the data that's out there on social media, hard to say whether it's real or not. So there's a lot of misinformation that's shared because of it.
And then patrolling has to happen. So like when so much negative, like cyberbullying, those kind of things, a lot of this has to be taken care of too and reassessed. And so these companies like Facebook and Instagram have certain protocols in place because of that.
Okay.
But at the same time, you know, it has to come from you. What is acceptable to write online? What is not? You know, those are all important things that we need to, I guess, evolve and understand about ourselves, about our community. You know, we need to, if it's going to be in a public format, then we need to be very cautious. And I've told my children that too. You have to be very, very careful what you post, what you write, because it's open. The whole world can see it. And I think, oh, well, you can set up the parameters to lock it, but still, it's out there.
It's out there.
Once it's out there, it's out there. So be cautious. That's
Right.
what-
Employers have access to a lot of that now.
Yes, they check.
And it can be misused, even by employers. But I always have said, you know, don't put anything out there that you wouldn't be willing to say to someone face to face.
Like even in the medical space, when you want to apply for residency, if you have a Instagram, they have absolute right to go on it. And they will check out your personality, what you do in your spare time, what your friends are you sitting there drinking? Maybe you're not the ideal candidate then for our program if you party a lot. Because we need you to work hard. So these are things too that people need to understand. I actually, my sons, their profiles and all that, they really didn't even go on social media until they finished high school. They, you know, they just
So
didn't.
it's important as parents for us, or as, you know, like parents or older siblings in the family, to guide, right?
Yeah,
in that
absolutely.
case, because the social maturity that you refer to, you know, it should be encouraged, or kids could be guided. Like, it's not like what you're seeing is the total reality, right? Like, they have all these what's it called, ways that you can look prettier, and you know, filters. Yeah, that's
filters,
But
yes.
you know, it causes stress in some kids, right? Why am I not looking like that? But they don't know the filters were used, right?
Right.
Exactly.
So I think parental guidance, I guess, or sibling guidance should always be there. 'Cause,
I think also the amount of time that they spend on social media. I mean, it used to be growing up that we'd say, go play outside, go meet your friends, go talk face to face. Now you can have 3 children in one room and they're all texting. They even text each other in the same room.
Yeah.
And you're like, whatever happened to the art of communication? If you don't talk to each other, this kind of stuff here, it just doesn't. It doesn't do it for me. That's my opinion. I mean, you've got to like either turn those phones off when you're having a family dinner, or give a limited time to children as they're growing up. Especially the younger ones are getting phones at a much younger age. My kids did not get a phone until they were almost like middle of high school. These little kids, I see these 8 and 9-year-olds, 6-year-olds running around. They not only know how to use it, they're on it constantly.
Yeah.
So I think we have a lot of things and we have to be very cognizant of, and that we have to guide, and that's where like life and parenting comes in, right? We've seen a lot. We know how bad and how things can backfire on you if you spend too much time just focused in one area.
What do you guys feel about opinion, like polarization also? It happens with social media, right?
Yes.
Because people just start thinking in one direction. You know, whoever goes to the platform is only thinking that way, right? That's also one concern. Like you want your kid or your family member or even your spouse to go on variety of platforms so that you can think differently, right? Like like a full, what do you call it? Kind of all dimensions of the situation or that whatever the discussion is, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, I know, there's a lot of information out there that you wouldn't have had access to in the past. And it can be good, right? So you can, as an individual, if you go to enough of those sites, you look at, maybe the background, who's created that site, to understand a little bit about their mindset and their where they're coming from.
Yeah.
But if you look at enough sites, you can then gather information and make a choice for yourself. Right. So that is, the good news is there's some information that can get out quickly. And then of course there's some bad things to that as well. Right? If it's not real information, or if it's
Or
one-sided.
one-sided information.
Or it's not even valid, maybe it's not even accurate, right?
Right.
Yeah.
There's things out there that are not valid.
And so I don't think social media is gospel, and I think people need to understand that. Okay? Whatever you see on social media is maybe not real.
Just
It's
because
not
it's
true,
published, it's not
published.
like it's
not
accurate.
it's not accurate. And so that's a interesting thing. So how do you teach that to a young person? Right?
Even to adults.
Even to adults,
Yeah,
It's
it's like-
just because it's written there doesn't mean it doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. So basically, what we are saying here is we should look at different sources, right? Not just one source,
Correct.
to make a balanced decision about the situation, whatever to make a decision or to kind of find an outcome, like okay, what actually happened or
But
something.
encourage the conversation in your own family, and encourage your children to think about it from more than one angle, as well as your whole family. Just because you feel like this, well, why do you feel like this?
Yeah.
Because you saw something.
Where did you see it?
Where did you see it?
But it might be just medical information.
Yes, that
Yeah.
too.
It might be that you're looking, your dog is having certain symptoms,
Yeah.
and you can't get into the vet for 2 weeks or whatever. You go online and you look at the various sources that are out there.
Yeah.
Now some, if you look further, are maybe influenced by a provider that's trying to sell something. So again, it's
You have
looking
to,
at
yeah.
trying to dig deep to figure out, just because it's there
Yeah.
doesn't mean it's right. But it does allow us, the positive side is it does allow us to collect a lot of information very quickly.
Yeah.
So it's not just, Facebook and things like that. There is information out there that's very helpful to our lives.
Yeah.
And I do that quite frequently, I'll be honest with you. If I have a question about anything, about a vitamin, about like what should we be taking, where should our levels be at, Google has a lot of information. You just have to disseminate it.
Yeah.
Once
And
you
now
do-
with ChatGPT, it's easier also to get more information.
Sure.
But again, our analytical skills should be there, right?
Sure.
To analyze and to figure out the accuracy of the information, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, there used to be, newspapers. They didn't always print the truth, right? So it's now there's just such a volume of information coming at you if you're on any of these, or even Googling or whatever.
Yeah.
It's just the volume of information, whereas before it might have been the local newspaper or a couple of newspapers.
Yeah.
But it's,
And also it's in the palm of our hand right now. It's easier to reach everything.
Right.
Like, we don't need to open
Quickly,
it quickly right there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Thank you so much. I know it's very interesting, and I guess there is no right or wrong. We're just discussing, and it is it is important. Social media is important. It's all this information we have now, in a short period of span, we don't really, it takes like few seconds or few minutes to get all the information, right? But the analytical, you still have to analyze the information to see if it's accurate. And then making sure also that, everyone is guiding their family. There is some system in the family there, what the kids are doing, or each other, the spouse, not, all having like a different perspective and keeping a, open mind about things, right?
Correct.
So
there's one other thing I would like to add, because
Sure.
of all the information, and whether it's on a computer or a phone, although a lot of people use a phone, physically it is impacting us with regards to your neck. They say, bending down, looking at your phone, or even just your eyes at a computer all that, for all that time looking at that information. So there's also a physical side to all of, this social media.
Yes.
also the mind, right? That's also
And the
part
mind,
of our
correct, yeah.
body, a brain,
Yeah.
right? So that's something, we always bending, right? So we have to be careful about our posture, right? We are not just all the time staring at the phone. And also, which obviously is the easiest way to check stuff, right? Especially for the younger generation. All right. Thank you. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you.
If you wanna talk about anything at all, then you know who to call. Just tell Sanjana. Tell Sanjana. Tell Sanjana. Tell Sanjana. Just tell Sanjana.